now recognize our longest-serving pharmacist in the United States House, Buddy Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'm going to jump right into it because I got a lot to go over in 5 minutes. I want to ask you, Mr. Judd, let's talk about this 97% of the fentanyl that is seized is at the border, okay? I'll accept that. I'll accept that as being a fact, okay? But it's my understanding that U.S. authorities estimate that we're only catching 5 to 10% that comes across. So if you're talking about 97% of 10%, you're still talking about a minuscule amount. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Let me ask you something else. We were at the processing center this afternoon, and I heard something that was very disturbing, and I need to get clarification on it. They told us that because fentanyl is an approved drug in America, that the dogs are not trained to sniff for it.
Certain precursors, that is true, but I have found that I used to be a canine handler myself. I have found that the dogs are, in fact, finding fentanyl. How that is, I don't know. I was a canine handler many, many years ago, but I do know that the canine just detected that in Sonora, Arizona 2 nights ago.
Well, I certainly hope that's not the case, because even though it is an approved drug, you got to have a prescription for it. I'm sure these people don't have a prescription for it when they're coming across the border.
No, they
Are
do
we
not.
checking to see if they got a prescription?
We check every document that they have, yes.
Well, I certainly hope that the Halt Fentanyl Act, once it's made permanent, that this will make sure that every dog is trained to detect fentanyl that's coming across that border. Let me ask you something else. If you had additional resources to put into border security, do you believe that more would be seized?
I believe that if we had more personnel on the border, absolutely. If we were able to deploy our agents to the field, yes, I absolutely believe that more would be seized.
You know, I get so frustrated by this talk, and with all due respect, Mr. Archer and Ms. Garza, when you talk about opioid addiction, and when you talk about fentanyl poisoning, you're apples and oranges here. I could not agree more. We need to do something in this country about opioid addiction. We need to do more. I witnessed it practicing as a pharmacist. I saw it firsthand. I saw it destroy families. I saw it destroy careers. We do need to address, but what we're talking about here is fentanyl poisoning. You know, I was at a town hall meeting, and I made a mistake. And as a pharmacist, I made a mistake. I called it fentanyl addiction. And a mother jumped up and she said, "Sir, you were wrong. It's not fentanyl addiction, it's fentanyl poisoning." She said, "My son took 1 pill and he's dead." She was right and I was wrong. It is not opioid addiction, it is fentanyl poisoning. Mr. Archer, one of the things that I think that we can do, and we got, you know, there are 2 solutions to this problem. First of all, we got to secure this border and stop these drugs from coming across the border. That's the first thing we got to do. We got a big problem with the amount of drugs that are in this country already. And one of the things that we've got to do, I tell you, in my backpack, I carry naloxone. I carry it everywhere I go. Thank God I've never had to use it, and I pray to God I don't have to use it. But we need to make sure naloxone is available over the counter. It needs to be in every medicine cabinet in America. It needs to be like syrup of Ipecac. It needs to be there. And I call on this committee. We need to have the FDA, and look, I'm a big critic of the FDA a lot of times, but I got to give credit where credit's due. They've already started the packaging to make this OTC. And now they're waiting on the pharmaceutical manufacturers to catch up with them. We need to be encouraging them. We need to have this. Mr. Archer, have you witnessed this?
We have, and I couldn't agree with you more.
Well, you know, look, folks, 200 people every day. 200 people every day. If you put 200 people every day in an airplane and crashed it, we'd all be walking. They'd stop it immediately. And what are we doing? We're sitting here arguing about whether it's at point of entry or whether it's a humanitarian crisis or what. It's drugs coming across the border. We're not talking rocket science here, folks. We got to secure the border, and we got to treat these people. We need to have this in every medicine cabinet, every emergency box. It needs to be like defibrillators, where you got them, you need to have Narcan, naloxone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield back.
Appreciate the gentleman. Now recognize Mr. Crenshaw for his 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for holding this field hearing in my home state of Texas. Thank you to all the witnesses for being here. Look, let's be clear. This is a